very, very warm welcome, everybody. My name is Robin Adams, and I am the president of CES here in North America. CES is part of a network, family-owned schools, started in Dublin in 1979, and we now have 2 schools in Ireland and 5 schools in the UK. And then I oversee the 2 schools here in Canada, one in Toronto and one in Vancouver. And then just, before we begin, I'll just point out that, I think that there's been a lot of discussion in the last, year and a half about visa changes in Canada. And, I think it's quite interesting when you look at the actual numbers. So Canada is scheduled to have just a little over 200,000 international students coming for long-term programs. So that is courses longer than 6 months through the international study permit program. But students can come to Canada not just with study permits, they can also come through visitor visas. And many countries actually have a visitor visa waiver status, so they don't even need that. They can come to Canada for up to 6 months, and they can study full time. There are no restrictions like in the United States about how many hours a week they can study. So, I think that in spite of some of the negative publicity, I think it's important to remember that Canada is accessible, and it is very welcoming. And through the Languages Canada organization, so I'm currently on the board of Languages Canada, we've done a lot of work to find ways to support agencies with the visa process. So there's a new program out called Border Pass, which was developed by a gentleman who used to be a lawyer for the IRCC, or the organization that controls visas for the Canadian government. And this gentleman has partnered with an AI developer, and they created a product called Border Pass, which is really a step-by-step guide to help people with the application process. So it walks you through step by step. And the theory is that 90% of the visa rejections are in fact more connected to the fact that the visa application wasn't done correctly in the way that the IRCC wants to receive the application. So this system was developed and guides the students to help them make sure that the visa is applied for correctly. And regardless whether it's a study permit or a visitor visa, the system can help with both of those cases. And it's nice for the agency because it kind of takes the responsibility of trying to upload all this information. It sort of allows you to hand that off to another system that is, developed specifically to provide this guidance. And it's very accessible. I think it's $75 for the service. So still extremely affordable, especially if you compare, let's say, with the visa study permits for Australia being, well over $1,000 these days. The $125 for the Canadian visa plus $75 for this Border Pass support, I think it's still quite affordable. So I present this as something that can really be of use to agencies that maybe are struggling with the visa application process for Canada. But our main focus today is to really explore the International Experience Canada program. And just to before we get into the details on that, I wanted to just highlight exactly where our schools are. So we have the 2 schools in Canada, one in the center of Toronto. So it's right in the heart of the city. And it's about 200 meters from the main square of the city, the so-called Yonge and Dundas Square, right in behind City Hall. So it's very accessible to all of the major attractions, the Royal Ontario Museum, the CN Tower, the University of Toronto, Ripley's Aquarium, all of these main attractions that make Toronto such a great, vibrant city where, within 10 to 20 minutes walk of all of those locations. So it really is in the heart of the city. We have a whole building for students, about 200 students at the school. And every classroom has natural light coming in with floor to ceiling windows. Our school is all about a very sort of personal approach, and we have a large team that really help the students and make sure that they get the most of their experience. In Vancouver, again, we're located right in the heart of the city, in the tourist district of Vancouver, if you will. Again, just 200 meters from the main transportation hub or waterfront center. An easy walk to all of the major sites in Vancouver. 20 minutes away from Stanley Park and the great English Bay. And very convenient for students who are traveling to homestays or residence. So we have a number of residences that are within walking distance of the school. And then we also have this access to the ferry, which takes them over to North Vancouver. Say about 50% of the students that come to Vancouver would stay in North Vancouver. The other 50% would be in Burnaby. And the main public transportation link to those two suburbs, if you will, are about 200 meters from the school. So lovely location there. So very classic. Again, in the heart of the tourist district. Everybody in Vancouver knows this steam clock here, which sings a little tune every 15 minutes. And I think that if students, do have troubles finding the school, they can just ask somebody to find the Gastown steam clock, and then they will be able to direct them. And directly across the street is our school. And Vancouver really is a fabulous location for international students. You're sort of right by the ocean, close to 3 local mountains that are about 25 minutes away. So regardless of whether you're coming in the summer or the winter, there's lots and lots to do in the city of Vancouver. And, I think that what we're seeing with our international experience Canada students, the students that are looking to study and work, the whole theory behind this program that the government created is to give international youth the opportunity to improve their language skills and explore country, and then of course to be able to work alongside that. So we do help the students find not only homestay accommodation, but also alternative accommodation with residences. We have some residences that offer programs for fewer than 4 weeks, and then also many residences that like students to stay for at least a month. And as I said, these are all within a comfortable walking distance of the school. In Toronto, we have a number of university residences that we have access to, especially from the beginning of May to the middle of August. But we also have year-round residence at the 28 Langley, which really offers a very unique experience with every room having an ensuite bathroom. So that's very, very popular and also quite affordable as well. In terms of the curriculum, all of the CES schools, we follow the same Common European Framework for our classes. So we are able to ensure that students, get that individual support as they are working through their language level, making sure that they're following international standards as well, so that they can feel confident with their ability. And we have a number of online and offline support systems to help the students reach their academic goals. So we use the Macmillan curriculum, which has a fantastic app that the students all get access to, but they also have these physical textbooks as well that are modern, nicely designed, and written by some of the best experts in the ELT world as well. So, with CES, you get full access to our CES Online program, which is brilliant in terms of, showing the students what the learning objectives are for all of their lessons, and gives them that sort of clear sense of what the outcomes will be from their course. And especially with adult learners, I think that's absolutely critical. The students that are coming on the study and work program, they know that there's a correlation between their English level and how much money they'll earn per hour. So there's this real sort of drive to improve their English skills so that they're able to work and earn as much as possible when they're in the companies that they're working with. So we're able to help students from all levels, from elementary to advanced. Typically, they need about 3 months per level. And we guide them step by step through that whole process with weekly tests, and give them feedback on their progress all the way along. We also have a number of elective courses. And for the study and work students, the career readiness class is particularly important because it allows them to develop their resumes, helps them with interview skills, and also introduces them to the employment standards, the regulations that guide employers to make sure that they're running safe and supportive work environments. And we want our students to have a clear understanding as to what employers can and cannot ask them to do to make sure that all of our students are safe, regardless of what working environment they're in. And so we have a number of different electives, especially in the afternoons. TOEIC, for those students who want to write the official TOEIC test. We are an official TOEIC test center as well that gives them the business English qualification. Very popular these days are the power speaking courses and the conversation classes that sort of build on the grammatical awareness that students have developed in their home environments, but gives them greater levels of confidence in their speaking ability. And that is, again, so critical for those students that want to study and work in Canada. It's important that they do feel confident so that when they're going to interviews with these companies, that they present well and give the employer that confidence that they're going to be able to manage in a work environment. So I'm just going to speed ahead here and get to the details of the study and work program. So again, this program was developed by the Canadian government, and it allows students to come to Canada on a working holiday visa. The quota for our program is beyond the quota that is assigned to different countries. So there are about 90,000 students coming to Canada on working holiday visas, and the IAC Languages Canada RO program is above the quota that's typically assigned to different markets. So for example, in the French market, there's about 6,000 working holiday visas that are usually assigned to French youth. But there are about 20,000 French youth that are looking to take part in those programs. So there's a huge wait list. And through our program, we're able to get access to additional work and holiday visas for students from 35 different countries. So it is really a wide range of different locations. Andres, it's been great to see students from Costa Rica take part in this program. Wonderful to have students from Chile. We've never seen so many students from Chile. Students are coming in from Spain, from France, from Japan, from Korea, from Taiwan. So it's a very, very diverse number of markets. All of these markets have reciprocal relationships with Canada, so Canadian youth can also go and study there, and that's something that we are helping the Canadian government with as well, to promote this experience of studying and working abroad to Canadian students. The structure is quite straightforward. They do need to do a minimum of 3 months of language study to be part of our program. There are other RO programs or recognized organization programs out there that don't require a study program, but the Languages Canada program specifically does require a minimum of 3 months of study. The students can study and work at the same time or simultaneously. I usually don't recommend that they do more than 20 hours per week because they find that it is quite taxing. We've had a number of students try to do that, and they find it is very, very demanding. So I recommend that they do, no more than 20 hours of work per week when they're studying full time. The course does require 25 lessons per week. So, it is a full day from 9 o'clock in the morning until 3:15 in the afternoons, Monday to Thursdays. Fridays finish at 12:15, so it's nice, especially if students are working Friday evenings, Saturday, and Sunday. It allows them to combine this very, very nicely. And again, there are sort of different steps that you have to go through with the study and work program. So the students need to create a profile with the Canadian government. They need to submit when they have created that profile to us. They pay for the 3 months program. There's also the RO letter fee, and that's the fee that covers our services, and we release a letter after the student has paid for the program. Well, we release a letter to the students that they have to upload in the account that they create with the Canadian government. And the government then matches the student's profile with our nomination. And when they have those two connected, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and then they're receiving their work and holiday visas. So again, they don't need to come to Canada with a study permit. They can come for a year just on their ETA and the working holiday visa. When they get to the airport, those working holiday visas are stamped into their passports. They're given instructions as to how they can create a social insurance number so that they're able to be paid by the Canadian government, or by their employer, rather, sorry. So it's a very step-by-step process. We've done hundreds of these, so we have a dedicated staff member in our registration team who walks the agents through all of the steps. So if you've never done this, don't worry. It's not scary. Reach out to me, and I'll get you set up with an application form and help you through the process. We're almost finished with the 2025 season. So again, it's been a very successful season. The first year was in 2024. This is our second year, and we are looking forward to the 2026 season. Should start December the 15th. We should receive our quota. The allocation will be made then. What we do is we set a certain number of seats for the different markets. So a certain percentage for Spanish students, a certain percentage for French students, for Chilean students, etc., etc. And then I would say, by the end of December, towards the end of the December, you can start selling the program. And the nominations for 2026 will start in the middle of January. So students would then come into Canada. They typically have about a year when they are supposed to arrive in Canada and begin their studies. So there's some flexibility there in terms of the application and then when the students actually arrive in Canada. Um, we certainly try to encourage them to get into the country within that year, because if you're later than that, unfortunately, the visas are no longer valid. But we haven't really had any problems at all in terms of getting students in within the years. So lots of talking from me. Any questions about the study and work program?
Hi, Robin, I have one.
Thank you, Andres.
Could students stay in Canada for the whole year, even if they only study for 3 months?
So they can stay in Canada for the whole year. Exactly. That's how the system works. So they study for 3 months and then they're in the country for the rest of the year. It's absolutely fine to do that.
And could you remember me, please, the dates for the application?
Yeah, so for the 2026 season, we should receive our quota by the 15th of December. That's this year. And then nominations should begin around the middle of January of 2026. And students should be able to arrive in Canada, towards the end of January and from that point on. It typically takes about 2 to 3 weeks, so it's very, very fast. I mean, I have never seen visa processing go so quickly, but they have a dedicated team at IRCC that helps us. The communication with them has been fantastic. Sometimes a student will go in and they'll create a nomination for the wrong program. So there are a number of different programs that the Canadian government has set up. There are things like, young professionals and things like that. Those are all separate from this program. This program is really a work and holiday product, if you will. But it's done under the recognized organization, which is Languages Canada, and we are part of the consortium of that particular organization.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Robin.
I've sent my question last
Right,
time as
Stephen.
well when I was applying, and I'm asking again, does Slovakia apply?
Yes, yeah. So Slovakia is, I believe, on the list of the 35 different countries, and I can certainly send you a copy of that list. It's also, the link is on our website as well. You can see all the different markets. We haven't had students from Slovakia apply yet, but we're looking forward to helping our first students with that process.
Right. Like this program, no, we in Slovakia, I would say, are quite isolated from much of the information which is out there in the world. It's like we're a blind spot or something. Like we are the only organization from Slovakia in IALC officially. And thank you very much for putting this information out there. I was startled. I had no idea that we could actually we could apply. And I really had a small heart even coming. So it's like brand new. I don't know how I really need the numbers. I will need to see how much the program costs and how much a student may earn. We have helped a family get into Canada. It was an arduous process. they went to work there and they emigrated there. It was really difficult for them. And maybe if, like, obviously we are a language school, we have started cooperating with other language schools and sending students their road basically recently. Before COVID, we started and we had to hold everything. So thank you very much for letting me like know all this. If we had more information, we would slowly and surely be able to start promoting this great opportunity, mainly in secondary schools. We need a whole world of information. Like no one knows about this. I can tell, I can guarantee. And if you would care to give us more information, then I would be extremely
For sure.
happy to receive it
Yes,
and process it.
it's great. I mean, we are starting to see, more partnerships with language schools in the countries from which we receive students. And, I think what schools are realizing is that these partnerships are incredibly important, that the students are coming to you, they're developing and building their language proficiencies, and then they come to us to kind of test what they've learned with you and live in the immersion environment and have the opportunities to travel and explore the country. And the Canadian government is really doing its best to come up with creative programs that facilitate that. This is a fairly new program, and it's been really exciting to see the diversity of students that it has brought us. Like I said, we never really had a regular stream of students from Costa Rica, and now we're starting to see them, and that brings such a fabulous environment within our schools, and we want to have as many students from different countries as possible. And I'm really grateful to our partners for taking on a new product. I know that it's difficult. It's easier to sell what you usually sell, and bringing on something new that has different components is tricky. And I participated in an event in France in January, and we had a number of French agents that trusted us and decided, okay, we're going to test this out, see if there is interest. And in France, to say there's 6,000 regular working holiday visas that are issued to French youth, but there are 20,000 students waiting in line to get access to those. And so we were able to kind of guide the agents step by step through this process. And there's a lot to learn, but we have a tremendous number of tools to help you, and dedicated staff that just walk you through every single process and sort of show you, okay, you've done this in the step, now this is the next step, and this is the next step. And so it's really sort of guiding you. Once you've done it 2 or 3 times, then you yourself become an expert. But it's that leap of faith, that initial, okay, I've got to get all of the materials onto my website. I have to translate it. I've got to make sure that there are enough resources for youth to kind of get a sense as to what this is. And we're really grateful to our agents for taking this on, and we will absolutely guide you through all of the steps. I think the objective here today is to really just sort of make you aware that this program does exist, that it is open to youth from 18 years old to 35. And there are 35 countries that can participate in this exciting program. And we're hoping to see more and more countries added to the list. I think that's something that, thanks to Mr. Trump, Canadians have woken up and realized that there is much more to life than the United States, and that they need to be working with as many people as possible, like-minded people. And I think that's what, really gives me a lot of hope when I see the young people, interacting with each other and getting along and going off and doing the activities in the evenings and spending the weekends together. that's when I take comfort and realize that there's a lot to be hopeful for.
Right. May I ask how many places are allocated to Slovakia, and if they have been like used up at all in the past? It's not the first year, like I understand.
Yeah. So we haven't had sort of a dedicated number for Slovakia. We sort of put them into an other category. So we leave, a certain number of spots open for some of the markets from which we where we don't have so many partnerships and where we don't get, a huge volume of students. So we're able to accommodate those requests and make sure that those individuals are guided through the process, and that you have access to all of the information that will help your students. Like I said, there is a bit of work done in terms of making sure that the students go through the process accurately. But we've got this system now, after having done many hundreds of these. We have a very clear system that walks you step by step, so that you feel reassured and you're able to reassure your students and say, okay, yeah, this is the step, this is that step. When they get nervous is when they don't know what is expected of them, but we make sure that we take care of that for you.
I think I also wanted to put in a question here into the conversation, which is what kind of work experience will they get? Like, is it up to the students? Is it based on their secondary school education, certifications, or it's just like in the services sector? So, like,
Yeah.
if something you could say
Really
something
good
about this.
question. So, I've been really surprised by just how diverse the jobs are. We had a young man from Spain, for example, who was an engineer, and he got a job where he was actually working for the emergency services, helping the ambulances in Vancouver, running their IT program. We've had another student who was working as the executive assistant for a gentleman who ran a big construction company. We've had students that were working for travel agencies, some students working for online casinos, which was something I hadn't seen before. But the vast majority of the students are working in the hospitality sector, in hotels and resorts and things like that. We do offer another service, which is a placement service. So in addition to the career readiness course, which sort of develops and prepares students for the interviews and that sort of thing, we can also help students with placement into different companies. We do charge an additional fee for that, but like I said, the vast majority of the students have been able to find work on their own. Again, what I love about this program is that they're not tied to any one particular city. So usually they come to Toronto or Vancouver, they have the big city experience, and then they go off to smaller communities, less expensive, maybe in resort areas, where they can find cheaper accommodation, staff accommodation, and enjoy the opportunity to explore the whole of Canada. Their working holiday visas are not tied to any one particular employer, so nobody has control over them. They're free to, work in one place and then go off to another place. There's a lot of flexibility that is part of this program. The idea is for them to get a really, really good sense as to what Canada is all about and to explore it as much as possible. But, again, there is a direct correlation with, education, language proficiency, and experience, and how much they can earn. There's no question that those cases are factors. Those aspects are factors. But we're
Yeah,
always
probably the last question. I'm sorry. How long do you think this program will hold, or how long does Canada plan to uphold this program for the world?
So that's a great question. So this is part of a 3-year trial program. We're just in the 2nd year. We've got another year to go, and we're in regular communication with the Canadian government as to, what we can do to help them. Their goal is to, send more Canadian youth out into the world to really increase Canadian young people's understanding of the world is a much bigger place than the United States. And it's very, very important to the government, especially now, that young Canadians develop their language skills, not just rely on their English ability, but build their own fluency in other different languages and understanding of the world. I think there's a much greater recognition that an over-reliance on one particular country is a dangerous thing. And so I don't see this program going away. I think that Canada has shifted fundamentally, and there is a much better recognition amongst Canadians about the importance of global communication and interchanges and experiences like this with youth mobility is critical to having a more diverse economy.
Oh, and it's a post last question. So if it's a reciprocal program, do Canadian, like if you have, like you mentioned, like that you have dedicated places to other countries where you put Slovakia, considering the fact that no one has come yet from here. And like, what does that mean? That Canadians would be looking for a chance to visit the rest of the world within the program, like Slovakia?
That's exactly right. That's the whole concept of this program. It's two-way mobility. International youth coming into Canada, Canadian youth going to the same countries to explore, the work and study opportunities in other countries. So that's something that we are trying to promote, and we have a young lady in Spain who has just gone into this program and is currently there. My daughter as well is going to be taking this opportunity, and I think that we have a lot of work to do in terms of raising Canadian youth awareness about this, but there's never been a more critical time for them to embrace this. So we're looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a very strong program for many years to come. So yeah, let's stay in touch. I've added my email to the chat here, and feel free to reach out to me, and hopefully we can develop something. And thank you, Julia. Thank you, IALC, for giving us this wonderful opportunity. I think this conversation has represented very, very well, what IALC does in terms of bridging language schools from all over the world under one umbrella to create new and exciting opportunities. So many thanks to you, Julia, for facilitating this, and I hope you have a fantastic afternoon.
Thank you very much, Robin. Thank you to attendees.
Bye.
It was a very interesting presentation, and I really enjoyed listening to it. It's a fantastic opportunity. Thank you. Thank you once
Thank
again.
you.
See
Thank
you
you so
soon.
much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Andres. Bye-bye.